You know those buzzword phrases that when uttered can make your skin crawl? Well, added value is one of those for me. I'm Gareth at SIOAAA and talking about how good IT service management we can actually add value. If you've studied ITIL to any degree, you may recall that the definition of service starts with a means of delivering value, and that value is made up of two things, utility and warranty. My intention is not to sit here in my garage and simply recite the ITIL manual to you. Personally, I think this is a term that sounds highly theoretical and maybe not something that is front and centre of IT professionals' minds on a day-to-day basis. Whilst that by and large is not an issue, given that ITIL is concentrated around the management of services and we're talking about the actual definition of the word service, then for me this is one of the absolute keystones of the whole framework. So how do we explain this in an understandable way, and how do we use it in the real non-textbook world? To start with a more universal example, let's keep IT services completely out of this. So utility is simply that the function of a product or service is fit for purpose, or more simply than that, what the thing does, and that the thing allows you to achieve a desired outcome. Let's say you're in the market to buy a new car. Now, when you first set out to buy a car, it's probably because your outcome is that you need to journey from one location to another fairly quickly, safely, protected from the elements, and you want a car. Not a bike or a skateboard, but a car because it has certain features that meet your needs. And even when you've identified it's a car that you'll need, there'll be certain features or characteristics that you'll want to suit your more specific needs, number of seats, maybe engine size, interior features. And if you've got a partner, 4 kids, 2 dogs, and a bad back to ferry about, it's unlikely that you're going to select a 2-door soft top roadster as your new car, unless you're in full midlife crisis mode, because that car is unlikely to be fit for purpose. It's not going to provide the utility that you need. So after hours of perusing the Auto Trader website, you've identified your perfect car and you fall in love with it. But if you're sensible, before parting with your hard-earned cash, you're going to want to make sure it's fit for use and is going to be fit for use for the duration of your ownership. You're going to want to make sure that the car is reliable. You'll read reviews from other owners on what it's like to own one of these cars, what common things tend to go wrong, and you'll make a decision on whether that's palatable. You're going to want to test drive the car and make sure everything is working as it should. Even though you've identified this car as being the perfect one, if you go to take a look around and you find that the locks on the doors don't work, there's no spare tyre, and when you test drive it, you get 2 minutes down the road and the thing breaks down, how likely are you to buy it? Well, you're not, because that car is not fit for use. Whilst you own the car, you're going to want to make sure that the utility of your car, the outcome that you want to achieve, is available, secure, continual to you when you need it. And this is the warranty of the service. If the warranty is good, it allows you to achieve your outcome more often. Now, of course, with cars, we all accept that from time to time things do go wrong. And car salesmen will go to great lengths to explain the warranty that comes with their models. In so much if something unexpected does go wrong, the warranty agreement will go about addressing any factors that impact the warranty of the vehicle you're purchasing. And you'll be familiar, not just with cars, but for other products. It's possible to purchase extended warranty. So if those warranty factors are absolutely critical to your need, for some extra pounds and pence, the vendor will underwrite the warranty to a higher level or for an extended period of time. And well, IT services are no different. Let's take a rather extreme example. A finance director approaches your IT department for a new general ledger IT application or service, something that will allow them to manage the profit and loss for your organisation, an organisation which is a global leader in its market with offices all around the globe. And the solution offered by IT is a rudimentary Excel spreadsheet running on a mid-2000s laptop. And no, this is not a real example from my work experience. First off, it's unlikely that the utility offered by the IT department in that solution is going to meet the needs for a complex ledger application, tracking, approving, validating potentially thousands of finance transactions on a daily basis. That solution is not going to provide the outcome the finance director is looking for. Does that mean Excel can't be used for that purpose? Absolutely not. But in that scenario, it's not appropriate to meet the functional needs. In terms of the warranty of that service solution, how reliable is that solution likely to be, both in terms of the hardware and software offered? Is that solution going to be available to all that require it when they require it? Does the solution have enough capacity to handle what the customer requires? And is that solution, given the data it's holding, secure? Well, no, absolutely not. For a start, a mid-2000s machine is unlikely to be under support or under warranty from any supplier, and as they would not be able to underwrite that they could reliably fix any issues within a specific period. So in that scenario, whilst providing a solution, could you argue that IT are providing value to their customer? That's probably an impossible argument to win. So what's gone wrong in that scenario? If IT have provided a solution without fully understanding the customer's needs from both a utility and warranty perspective, then they are setting themselves up to fail. So lesson number one, it's absolutely essential to understand the customer's definition and requirements of value before implementing any IT services. And that value has to be both what the thing does and how it does it. Crucially, value is not a binary standard defined thing. It means different things to different people and scenario dependent, different things to the same person. So how can you ensure that you don't find yourselves in similar situations to that, as extreme as it might be? Well, in my experience, there are two common pitfalls, one which occurs during service design and the other during the operation of the service itself. So first up, it's far too easy for warranty to get outweighed by utility. Now think back to my car example. Have you ever been in a situation whereby you are maybe helping a friend or significant other choose a new car, and whilst they admit they're no expert, they eagerly just want to go for the blue one? Now, at that point, you're probably going to roll your eyes because you know choosing a car is way more complex than just what colour it is. However, in my experience, I think it's somewhat human nature to get drawn on what the thing is rather than how it does what it does. Some years ago, I saw advertised on one of those infomercials that lasts 45 minutes in between programs, a paint roller whereby you fill the inside of the roller with paint rather than having to continually recoat the roller from a paint tray. The advertisement went on and on and on about how this roller would revolutionise how I was going to decorate. And after getting sucked in, I placed an order costing me about 30 quid. A few days later, the roller arrived. I set about redecorating my lounge, and the thing was absolute rubbish. Fell apart after about 5 minutes, leaked everywhere, and after not too much time, got thrown in the bin. And I've seen the same thing happen with IT services. Not that this is a slant on all IT advertising or cold calling, but I've worked with customers whereby they've identified themselves an IT solution that delivers exactly 100% the outcome that they want to achieve. In some cases, their business department has maybe gone off and purchased the IT licenses or signed up for a software as a service agreement themselves, then asked IT to simply implement, integrate, and support this, only then to find it doesn't provide the necessary warranty that they need. Not that this is the particular IT service's fault, it's just that the customer hasn't fully defined or considered their warranty requirements before signing on the dotted line. What that can lead to is it being hard to impossible for IT to neatly integrate that service into its operating model, having to invent bespoke processes to get around the challenges, and worse, adding time or delay to the delivery of service and providing an unfair view of IT to its stakeholders. Now, for one example, I worked with a customer who had gone off and purchased an audit tool that allowed the users to upload audit reports, action trackers, create status reports, and send out various tasks and actions to various people across the company. The only challenge was that the service was hosted entirely out of a foreign country whose data storage reputation was well known, not for the great reasons, and therefore we couldn't assure the security of the data once it was uploaded. So first off, whilst it's totally appropriate to engage and involve subject matter experts business side in the service design process, I'd argue you can't deliver value unless you're doing that. In fact, if you're an IT provider, don't let your customers go off and define their own IT services. That's your job. Would your HR department allow you to define its own annual leave policy? No. And if you're involved in the design of IT services, it's absolutely essential to equally consider the warranty in parallel with the utility. That can't be done after the utility is determined. It has to be done at the same time, as utility decisions impact warranty and vice versa. It's crucial to understand what are those warranty or non-functional requirements. Consider how is this end-to-end service going to meet those warranty needs, how is this service going to be supported, and what needs to be put in place for this service to achieve that. And this can involve the need to amend already existing services in order to accommodate that. You might be a purely business hours support service and you're implementing a new service that needs to be available to end users 24/7. Then you're going to have to consider how the issues get reported, captured and dealt with where appropriate outside of business hours. If a suitable solution isn't found, then naturally at certain times your service risks not meeting its warranty requirements. And if warranty isn't present, then this isn't going to provide value to your customers, and customers tend not to express satisfaction with the service if it's not providing value. What could also happen is, if this is not made clear at the outset of the service design, is that customers have false expectations set about the levels of warranty support provided by IT for that particular service. And again, if this occurs, all it's going to lead to is dissatisfaction with your customer. If you've ever been in and around the service desk, you'll have experienced a situation whereby your customers may be asking for a major incident to be raised, yet based on what the thing is that's impacted, there's some debate whether this actually constitutes a P1 or not. More often than not, that is absolutely rooted in a disconnect between warranty and utility expectations. I'll be talking about this more specifically in its own video in the coming weeks, so make sure you tune in for that one. Secondly, warranty has a shelf life. Back to our car example. When you buy a car, the manufacturer will provide a warranty for a number of years. Now, that warranty is factored into the price that you pay for the car, and effectively the manufacturer is underwriting for that period. Should something go wrong with your car, they will get it back on the road to allow you to carry on making use of the utility. But no car manufacturer is going to underwrite that warranty forever. And of course, there are things that you can do which will invalidate your warranty, like not taking good basic care of the car. If you wanted to see if your car runs on Fanta Zero, and as a result, you pour that into your engine, your garage is most likely not going to underwrite the warranty to repair that car. Most warranty agreements state that the vehicle has to be serviced every so often in order for the warranty to apply, but ultimately at some point, given the age of the vehicle, the warranty that once applied can no longer. And yet again, IT services are no different. For example, lots of IT suppliers will mandate that the element they support must be kept up to date in terms of software or firmware in order to provide that warranty. Why? Because latest iterations of software, firmware, have probably ironed out bugs or glitches that are known to impact warranty. And at a certain point in time, just like our cars, it no longer becomes financially viable to support something that is past a certain age. Perhaps because certain parts or components are harder to come by, or demand for those older services are no longer what they once were. Therefore, if providers are unable to underwrite the warranty in support of an element of an IT service, then the warranty of that service can no longer be valid. True story time. Some years ago, I was working at a company who utilised a fairly old version of Microsoft Exchange. Now, if your company is like any I've worked at in the past, then understandably, email is one of the, if not the most critical business services used. When it was approaching support renegotiation time with our IT partner, our partner highlighted that for the email service, given the age of the environment, they were no longer going to be able to support that service as a critical service. And by that, they meant they weren't able to provide the 4-hour fix for total outage, nor be able to provide the 4 nines 24/7 availability that we've been used to. Why? Well, they themselves couldn't call on the support of Microsoft because the version of Exchange we were using had gone end of support. Somewhat naively, my view was, well, this is ridiculous. How can the support of email, which is core to everyone's jobs, not be treated as critical? Imagine the conversations I'm going to have with senior business leaders as to why their email service isn't available and why it's not being handled by IT as a major incident. The response I got back was enlightening. Their view, rightly, was if we, the customer, weren't going to treat the service as critical and ensure it's maintained by way of investment to the right standards, well, how can they? They evidenced that this had been raised with the internal IT team on several occasions, that the age of the environment was going to prove a challenge. They even suggested alternate routes to address this. However, this had not got the priority for whatever reason from the internal team, and therefore this was the conclusion that we found ourselves at. So what's the answer? Again, it needs to be clear at the outset of the service being introduced how long the warranty is valid for, and make sure that's documented as part of the service level agreement. Secondly, any issues that risk the warranty need to be tracked, managed and communicated to the customers, so it's clear what's required both sides in order to maintain those levels. For example, if a component is reaching its end of life, end of support deadlines, this needs to be tracked in your CMDB and fed into certain decision-making forums via operational processes. Remember that diagram in the ITIL manual that shows service design and service transition and service ops in a cycle? Well, this is that living and breathing. You might find for a particular service that incidents seem to be increasing for a certain CI, and via problem investigation, you identify that the CI is reaching its end of support deadline. So what happens then? Well, problem management should be ensuring that the information is fed to the service owner so they can plan appropriately in conjunction with the customer, whether this is something that requires replacement or redesign, or whether the warranty agreement needs adjusting once that deadline is reached. It may also get added to a risk register, but doing nothing is certainly not an option. Okay, that's probably about it this time. One neat conclusion I wanted to highlight, particularly based on the content of this video, I've heard many times from some of my IT colleagues not directly involved in service management or service operations that, well, ITIL is just for the service desk or service operations staff. Hopefully, as I've highlighted, if you're involved at the delivery of an IT service that delivers value to an end user, then ITIL is most definitely for you. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. And if your IT service is hanging, switch it off and on again.